What's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is Mr. Madrid from the Mr. Madrid Show, and today we have another episode number 46. We are 4 away from hitting that 50. Very special. A lot of podcasts don't get the opportunity to hit 50. For whatever reason, it's a big milestone in the podcast community. So I'm really excited to be 4 more episodes away from hitting that mark and continuing on from there. But nonetheless, tonight we are going to be talking about the topic of the night, betting on yourself when nobody claps yet. And this is important because betting on yourself, nobody really sees the full picture. People see the moves that are made and when plans actually come together, but they don't see the mental battle, the fear, the faith that it takes to do these things, the pressure and the responsibility that one has in the pursuit of this dream that we have. And tonight's episode is for the person building something before anyone believes in it. We're going to break this down into different categories. And number one is simple. It's the quiet season. It's everybody loves a success story after things come into play. Nobody sees the early stages, the doubts, the bills, ladies and gentlemen, the late nights. Talking about late nights, lately I've been staying up past 10 o'clock. You know, the family goes upstairs. It's time for some shut-eye. And there's something inside of me that just doesn't allow me to just go upstairs and lay my head down yet because I have so many thoughts and ideas in my brain. It just doesn't let me turn that thing off. So the late nights is things like that. Late nights up editing, planning, dreaming some more, planning, and just really trying to figure out how we're going to complete this mission. Conversations that I had with God or that we have as content creators and people in pursuit of our dreams is there's a lot of conversations that take place in me asking God for guidance, asking God for not only guidance, direction, but love, peace, tranquility, and safety. So everything outside of just dreaming. And then also trying to build something all while healing. You know, there's a lot of trauma that happens in people's lives. And I'm not going to go into detail about my own, but in the pursuit, and I keep on trying to say the pursuit of happiness, but in the pursuit of the dream or dreams, there's a lot of things that you have to kind of like unprogram. I don't know if that's the right word to use, but like kind of break the cycle, you know, of what the norm was because of either the family you grew up with or the people that you've had around. So there's a lot of reprogramming that needs to take place. And you're also trying to lead and trying to be the best version of yourself while still figuring this whole thing out. And then you have to stay strong for your family. It takes a toll for you to pursue your dreams, for you to pursue the things that you want to do. And even if you're an entrepreneur, family takes a hit on that because you're sacrificing time in order to build something better for their future and for your future. And that's where the character gets built. And within all that, something that us, the dreamers, the entrepreneurs, we move in fear. There is that fear of investing so much time into these things. Is it really going to come together? Now, faith doesn't mean that you're confident every day. Sometimes faith looks like taking one step while being nervous. Sometimes you don't have all the answers. Lord knows I don't have all the answers. And then sometimes you just know staying in the same spot is not an option. Being in the same place, doing the same things. You know, the whole Einstein theory, right? What's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. And fear is real. But fear cannot be it can't be the boss. It can't be what defines you and what defines the moves that you're making. Like, I'll be honest with you and I'll be vulnerable as I usually am. I've had moments where I've questioned myself and the moves that I'm making. When it comes to business, when it comes to podcasting, when it comes to career moves that I've made, family pressure, and even in my latest journey, which is weight loss. I've been overweight for a long time, and your boy is 15 pounds lighter, ladies and gentlemen. Hoping you see that. The jawline's coming out a little bit, you see what I'm saying? With all those pressures, still choosing to move forward. And then also understanding it's a lonely world out there. Nobody's going to be coming here to save you. It's a hard truth. You can pray, but you still have to move. You still have to keep pushing, and you still have to keep looking for ways to improve the moves that you're trying to make. You can want better, but you still have to change your habits. And again, what's the definition of insanity? Doing something over and over again and expecting a different result. And then a lot of you including myself, and I've broken this cycle because I think there is no perfect timing. But stop waiting on the perfect time. There is no perfect time. You can plan, and though like you can have and think that you're almost there to have the picture perfect plan, and you still won't make a move. Stop waiting for the outside world to understand what you're trying to do, and stop waiting for permission or even validation. And that's something that I'll pause there for a second. We're all seeking validation. So if you say that you're not, it's not true. It's in our human nature to seek validation from, it starts from childhood, from our mothers, we can't really say a father because I didn't grow up with a father, but siblings. And then when you finally fall in love for the first time, your close friends, and so on and so on. The people who doubt you are not responsible for your dreams. They're not responsible for your assignment. All of us play a role in this world, and we all have what Jay-Z always talks about, a God-given talent that we have to figure out what is that God-given talent, and then tap in and remember that you're responsible for that, not anybody else. And then we have to have discipline over emotion. Motivation is not enough. Motivation comes and goes. Discipline is what keeps you keeping your promises to yourself. So I'll give you an example. This morning, second day that I'm actually exercising because I've been just intermittent fasting. I didn't want to go to the gym and do cardio. Today is my cardio day. So all I do, go to the gym, get on the treadmill, and I do my thing for 40 minutes, and then I'm out of there. I woke up, I was supposed to be there at 7, didn't wake up to 7:40, and I just knew that later on today, I was going to look back and be disappointed at the version of me that didn't keep their word. Because I don't want to be that version of me. I want to be the version of, damn, I did that thing. I knocked it out this morning the way I said I was. And that builds my self-esteem. Being in the work and staying 10 toes down when nobody is watching you is also part of that. You can lie to, and I've said this in other podcast episodes, you can lie to the world, you can't lie to yourself, you can't lie to God. Within this podcast and content creation world, I don't have a lot of followers. I don't have hundreds of thousands of followers. I don't have hundreds of thousands of views. But one thing that I'll tell you is I keep moving forward. I record, I put out episodes even when the views are low, when I don't get a lot of feedback. I call them reps. The same thing is when you're working out in the gym, you're trying to get those cuts in your arms, you're trying to get that 6-pack. It's not going to show immediately. It's going to take reps, and not everybody's going to notice. And then little by little, you start getting some definition. People start noticing your arms. That 6-pack starts coming out, and now we got movement. So I continue posting. I don't care who's watching. I just know that I made a commitment to myself to keep pushing forward. And another thing I'll say is when you talk about pushing forward, I'm not only talking about content creating. I have a 9 to 5, and in that job, I'm basically calling on companies. Sometimes it's cold calling, sometimes it's existing customers, and I'm trying to get them to buy something. And I'm such a seasoned salesperson that no to me is just a closer step to get a yes. So to me, I disregard the no's, and I'll keep asking questions and building up to a point where I hear pain points and things like that. And even when I'm at my roughest days, that one more call is what gets me where I need to be. And that one more call is what makes a difference between you and the next person that gives up versus the person that keeps on fighting the good battle. And even in business, my own personal business, I keep investing even when money is a little tight because I believe in the moves that I'm making. And I believe that scared money don't make no money. And I guess that's a New York thing for me to say, but the small wins matter. Believe that, I lost 15 pounds in less than a month. And I'm not saying that that's the best thing, but I'm not saying it's the worst thing. I wish I would have lost 30, but I'll take that as a small win, and it fuels my desire to keep moving forward. And that's why you guys can't give up on what you're pursuing, and you have to celebrate yourself along that journey. Every little win counts, man, and every little win should boost up your self-esteem. Prove it to yourself that you can do those things. This is not about proving anybody else wrong. This is not about ego. That ego comes and goes. This is about proving yourself that you are a bad mother, and that you can trust yourself, and that you can trust yourself so much that you know that you're going to be able to finish what you started. You can stay consistent even when it feels difficult, when it feels boring, when nobody's there to applaud and say, good job, buddy. And the question I asked myself this morning when I didn't want to go to the gym, am I going to appreciate that person that didn't go to the gym? Is that the person is that the man that I actually want to become? And the answer was no. And that was enough to get me off my ass and going for a walk and getting some cardio done. And then, I always talk a lot about faith and God. And this is something that I read. And so I'll give credit to whoever wrote it. I don't know who the writer is, but God can open doors for you. You can pray, God, please, I need this job. I need to do this, that, the next, whatever it may be. But you still have to walk through that doorway. You know what I mean? And something that they say in the Bible is faith without discipline turns into wishful thinking. Prayer works, but you not putting any work behind it is really not going to do anything. I heard today somebody use the analogy of like, you can turn a car on and put it in drive, but if you don't hit the gas, you're not going to go anywhere. You have all the resources and tools to make a move, but if you don't hit the gas, you're stuck. And to go back to the part where I'm talking about scared money don't make no money, taking the safe route is the best thing for you. But sometimes playing it too safe may be keeping you from your greater purpose. It'll cost you growth. It'll cost you opportunities, and it'll cost you the future version of yourself. And comfortability can become like a prison cell within itself. And what I mean by that, like, it took everything in the world for my wife to get me out of Washington Heights. I was comfortable. I knew my surroundings. I felt safe. And it was all I knew, in a sense. As sad as that sounds, because there's a world outside of wherever you're at. There's things going on outside. But if you're not curious enough, and if you don't have the will and desire to step outside of your comfort zone, you're not going to grow. They say growth is built in those moments of the unknown, the being uncomfortable. In those moments of discomfort is where you have the most amount of growth, because you have to learn how to maneuver through that. And I'm pretty sure there's a nicer and swell way to say that, but I'm going to say it in the best way that I could say it. You have to be uncomfortable in order for you to grow. It just is what it is. I've started businesses that I really didn't know what the hell I was doing, and it was uncomfortable. It was scary. I didn't know how to even, back to my pressure washing days when I first opened up my pressure washing business. I didn't even know how to turn the machine on. I was actually scared of the machine. As uncomfortable as that was, something in me told me that I had to figure that out. And I became an expert in that world of pressure washing. And because I was uncomfortable, but challenged myself, I was able to make $25,000 working weekends in 5, maybe 6 months, And today's episode is very short. The message, ladies and gentlemen, you may be in the middle right now of your story, of your journey, of this chapter, of this season. And you may not be broken, but you may not be where you want to be. You may not be lost, but the future is not fully clear. And you're not quitting, but you are tired. But keep going. Do the next right thing. Do one more workout, one more call, one more post, one honest conversation, one disciplined decision. That's how you rebuild. And this is my closing thought for you guys. Maybe the best version of me, or even you, that you've been praying for, that we've been praying for, is on the other side of me keeping promises to myself. Even when nobody claps, even when nobody understands, even when you're scared, when I'm scared, I'm still betting on me, because God didn't bring me this far for me to stay the same. And I leave you with that. Peace and love.